All right. I think we're good, Jessica. All right, we're starting with or without you.
Birthday to your dad after we
Do it without people.
Okay.
That's fine. Yeah.
Sorry.
I know it's a little weird doing it live, like in person, right? You don't know what to do when you're not on the screen. Just cause a little more respect. This is a little more respect.
It is.
So you might have to speak up.
Okay, can everyone hear me? Yes. Okay, so we are studying Havdalah, and as hopefully everybody remembers, if you don't, this is new and awesome. So Havdalah is the end of Shabbat, and we do a couple different things to close out Shabbat. We say a couple different blessings. We have some wine, and wine always represents joy. So we have our wine overflowing. We want that joy to bring us into the next work week, and then until the next Shabbat. And then we have some spices, and to remind us of the sweet smell of Shabbat. And then we have a candle here, again, just to remind us of the light of Shabbat. So everybody should know the song. If you don't, it's pretty easy. Lie, lie, lie. So everybody sing. Lie, lie. No. Everybody sing along loud and clear. And here we go. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 always extinguish our lights in joy. And we say,
Shavua Tov!
a good week.
Yeah. I think I'm going to pass on my book review tonight. Oh, was that a bad? Oh, all right. No, nothing's getting edited right now. We're like live on YouTube. So, hey, Dad, can you look at the camera and see if like my head's chopped off?
Well,
Yeah, so you're fine.
I'm fine. Perfect. Gotta like trim my hair anyways. So just in case anybody doesn't know, since the last one, we've been discussing this book by a friend of ours. It's called Sabbath, A Gift of Time, and written by Bonnie Wilkes, longtime dear friend of our families. She and her husband and her daughter. And we're finishing up the book. It's kind of hard to imagine that we've read a whole book in the last month. I don't know. For some of us, it's hard to imagine. For some of us are like Amanda. But so one of the reasons I chose this book to do this month is because we've been doing Havdalah, and it's really important to talk about Shabbat. I mean, Shabbat's the reason we do Havdalah. Like, if there wasn't Shabbat, well, we wouldn't have Havdalah. It's related. But Bonnie, in her book, her last couple chapters, she talks about the eternal covenant nature of the Shabbat and how the Shabbat is a eternal covenant between God and the Jewish people. You can see it in Exodus, in Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel. In Jewish tradition, Shabbat is also compared to a bride, which actually I've had the pleasure since coronavirus to do 2 weddings, and it's just an interesting thing. Every time I do a wedding, it's just, to me, it's very, I enjoy doing weddings, if only for the moment of watching the bride come down the aisle. At the last wedding I did, I mentioned that when the bride is coming down the aisle, this was an opportunity, and we have a few opportunities in our lives like this, where we are standing in the present, looking into the future. And Shabbat is one of those moments. We can stand in the moment of Shabbat, but Shabbat also, we are looking into the future and into even what I was talking about in my message this morning. We're looking into the hope for when Yeshua is sitting upon the throne in Jerusalem. We don't have a need for a sun in the day or a moon at night, that he is the light, and from him the light will emanate and will provide illumination for all of us. We look forward to that in the same way that we look forward to the coming of a bride as a bridegroom. So I think there's some really, really interesting connections there. And Shabbat is a time where we should be setting apart dedicated time to being with our bridegroom. You know, even if we are doing it in anticipation, like, it's still a start. And so Shabbat just gives us a taste of what is to come. It allows us to experience today what we will experience forever. And there's some really beautiful moments in that, if you can allow it. It's a time where we're free from work, we're free from burdens of day-to-day living. And I know I've mentioned this before, but Shabbat is an act of faith, because what we see in the wilderness when the children of Israel are going through the wilderness is they gather 2 omers of manna, so that they have one for Friday and one for Saturday. And we're in faith believing that God's providing for us on Shabbat. We are not our own providers on Shabbat. If you look at Shabbat in that way, as we don't work on Shabbat, we're not our own providers, and it really builds within us a sense of dependency and need for time with Him. So I think that's where I'm going to leave it. Oh no, I'm going to leave it with a quote. It's a beautiful quote. 6 days a week we wrestle with the world, wringing profit from the earth. On the Sabbath, we especially care for the seed of eternity planted in the soul, by Abraham Joshua Heschel. This is the opportunity during the week. We care for our bodies, we care for our needs, that sort of thing. On Shabbat, we care for our eternal soul. Like, not that you don't do it during the week, but this is a day that's set apart for it. And this is a time that's set apart for it. So anyways, if you guys want to take a look at the book, you can Google it, you can order it on Amazon.
So you out of 5 stars, what do you do?
I give it some stars. I think there's a few things in here that could be a little bit clearer. Let me just give you guys all just a note about myself. If I were to write a book today and I were to read the book and do a book review for it, by the time I finish the book review, I would disagree with myself. Just so bearing that in mind, when I recommend a book, I usually disagree with part of it and I agree with a lot of it. So I'd give it this is a very good place to start. If you need a place to understand Shabbat and what Shabbat is, this is a great place to start. If you have been doing Shabbat for your whole life, it's helpful to go back and get a refresher course, just to kind of re-energize what it was in the beginning. So I don't know, I'd probably give it 4.5 stars. What, 5-star reviews? That's total, right? 5 stars? But in between 4 and 4.5, like 4.13972. It's better than 3.1514 around. So anyways, it's a good book. I recommend it. If you're looking for another great book on Shabbat, I also recommend Heschel's book. It's called Sabbath. Also an excellent book. We may or may not take a look at that next week if you're watching on YouTube Live. So anyways, you can probably, whatever. You can find it somewhere. Everybody's resourceful. So thank you everyone for coming. Thank you for those who are watching.
Since you finished that one, would you sell it at a discount?
No, it's got my notes in it. This is worth more. Hey, Marcus, I'm going to go ahead and turn myself off.